Hi guys, I'm Kate Pope, I'm 17, and this is my transition speech. So ever since I was little, I was born in New Jersey, and I moved to Maine when I was 3, and ever since I was little, I've always loved dancing. I started dancing when I was very little, and I've never really stopped. A huge experience sparking my love for dance was seeing the Robinson Ballet's Nutcracker every single year. It was a family tradition of ours since we moved to Maine, and it was the moment that I realized the stage was where I wanted to be. I knew that Bangor was really far away. The studio was in Bangor, and it seemed so far away and such a dream that I didn't think I would ever be able to be part of the production. So in early elementary school, I was trying to dance with multiple companies in the area because that just seemed more achievable to me. I started dancing with Tammy Willis in Bar Harbor, and then I made the trip out to Ellsworth to dance with Lubixi School of Dance. 4th grade was when I started taking my dancing more seriously, and I knew that Robinson was the step I wanted to take, even though the trip to Bangor seemed daunting. In 6th grade, my dream of being the Nutcracker finally became reality. So another thing that I was interested in was Monopoly. When I was little, I loved to play the game with my family, and I was also really good at it. I would always play with my sister and my parents, but then they stopped wanting to play with me because I would always beat them. I was unbeatable. So then I bought it on my iPod at the time, and I still found myself winning. So not only was I good with money in the game, but I was also really good with money. I was very frugal. One time my mom was telling me about how when we were little, my sister Jane was talking about how excited she was to get a job when she was older so she could buy a dirt bike. I responded really fast and said that money should be saved for college. So I've always been a level-headed type of kid, and I think that could serve me well in a possible business for a future. So another thing that's always been a big part of my life is music. Music was constantly playing in my house, and I have a pretty musical family. Some of my fondest memories as a kid was listening to music with them, and they've also been very supportive of that. I've played the cello since I was in 2nd grade. I've been taking private lessons since 4th grade, as well as I've been part of school orchestras, and I've done music camps. So this is my family, my mom, my dad, and my twin sister. They've been very big influences on my life because my parents have both been extremely supportive of our interests. They've kept all doors open for us to be a part of anything that we wanted to be. My mom, she devotes a lot of time to making our busy schedules possible. She spends 5 days a week driving me to Bangor so I can dance and also pursue my cello playing. That's 25 hours a week that my mom spends driving me. Without her commitment to accommodating my interests, there's no way that I would be at the level I'm at with my dancing or my cello playing. She has also taught me a lot about time management and scheduling. In order to keep up with our fast-paced lives, she's very on top of the calendar, and this skill is something that has definitely helped me succeed in my academics at school, where I'm taking all honors and AP classes at the high school. So my dad, he's also been a really big influence. He's very musical. He doesn't know how to read music, but he just has always been a really big supporter of music and has just encouraged my general love for music. He's also really supportive of my dancing, and he'd never miss a show of mine. He's a self-employed cabinet maker, and growing up watching him run his own business has inspired my possible career in business myself. So now my twin sister Jane and I, we've been inseparable best friends our whole life. And she's also very musical. Her insane dedication and talent in multiple musical instruments has always been incredibly inspiring to me. whenever people would ask us what we wanted to be when we grew up, Jane was always so quick to say musician, and I never had as quick of an answer, and I always admired that she had that answer, something that she was so passionate about. My family has been my best friends and constant supporters. They have taught me to be open about my feelings and follow my passions. So as for the present, I'm still dancing a lot. I've now been in the Nutcracker for 6 years. Dancing in the company has truly been an extraordinary experience for me. I dance Monday through Thursday for hours every day after school, and on Saturday I spend pretty much my whole entire day there, often from 10 to 5 or 6. And even though it could seem like it's a lot to someone on the outside, and it is, it takes a lot of stamina, it's taught me a lot about hard work and patience. I've learned to look at things from a bigger picture, and being in a production like the Nutcracker has just been like, it's just taught me to look at things from a bigger picture, and performing those shows just makes all the hard work worth it. So that's me right there. That was a picture from this year's Nutcracker, the snowflake scene, and that was my costume from Waltz the Flowers, which is another role that I've played in the Nutcracker. So it's not just also the dancing that makes my studio so important to me, but it's also socially. The people that I dance with are my absolute best friends, and I look forward to seeing them every single day. Socially, it took me a while to settle into high school. My freshman and sophomore year, I found it kind of hard to find a group of friends because while other people might have had the opportunity to make friends from school activities, I was always running off to dance, so I didn't really have that as much, and I didn't really have as much of a connection socially to school. But my dance friends are just people that have always remained constant in my life, so that it's really my second home, and I definitely consider the studio to be my happy place. It's also a creative outlet for me. It's a way to express myself, and it's also through my own choreography. It just gives me so much freedom and expression, and that's really special to me. Whether the things that I choreograph are ever seen by an audience, or if they just stay with me in my room, it's really special to me to have that outlet where I can just express whatever I'm feeling through my dancing. Dancing has also caused me to reach out of my comfort zone and also travel. In 2018, I attended the Bosov Ballet Summer Intensive, which is, I spent a week away from home in Pittsfield, Maine. And this past summer, I think I've talked about it before, I went to the Joffrey Ballet, New York City Ballet Intensive. And dancing for me, I love the challenge and the discipline of it and improving my dancing, but it also just improves so much about me as a person. And traveling and spending 2 weeks by myself in New York City this summer, it was just such a great thing for my independence. I mean, I live on an island in Maine, and it was really cool to experience that. And the things that ballet has taught me is just something that I'll take forward into my future for sure. So this year, I found myself in a really good place, I think. While my dance training takes up a lot of my time, I feel like I've done a good job balancing everything. I was really worried this year going into it that my academics were just going to be very overwhelming and stressful to me, and I'm very motivated to do well in academics, so the standards that I set for myself can be really stressful at times. However, reflecting on my year so far, I'm proud of myself for how I managed my time and kept my grades at a high standard. On top of dance and homework this year, I've also been more involved at school as well. I'm part of both National Honor Society and Tri-M, which is National Honors Music Society. I will also be playing my cello in the mixed show choir for Pitt this year. And being part of these groups has brought me closer to the school community, and it has also led me to a close group of friends at school. So socially, my junior year, I've been a lot more comfortable at school, which is really nice. And yes, as I've heard, I'm very busy, but it's also really helpful for me to be busy with my time management because I have no time to procrastinate at all, so I get my work done. It's the times that I do have time to do nothing that I'm just not productive at all. I think if I had hours upon hours each day to just go home and get my homework done, I wouldn't be as motivated as I am, and I wouldn't be on top of everything. So next year, I plan on taking AP Statistics, and this class focuses on real-world problems using legit data and research. So I've yet to talk to my guidance counselors about it, but I talked to my current math teacher who said that AP Statistics would probably benefit me if I were to go into business or finance in college. I also looked into possibly doing a business class with Mr. Taylor that could help prepare me. It counts as a life skill credit, which I still need to graduate, so that could be a good use of my time. Another thing that has helped me, I think, prepare in life for a possible career in business is music. My sister and I have been playing since 2nd grade. I chose the cello because Jane had already decided she wanted to play the violin, and I thought that if I chose a different instrument than her, then that would be better, so we weren't compared all the time and as competitive with each other, even though we already are kind of competitive. So anyways, we advertise ourselves as the Two Sisters String Duet because we've played at a lot of different events and things throughout our high school. We've been hired regularly to play as like guest musicians for churches, which is a really good way for us to get our sound out, I guess. Like it's not as big of an event, but it kind of lays the seeds for other things that we play at. We've played at many weddings actually, and on a sadder note, we play at funerals too, and also just parties and events and stuff. And like putting ourselves out there for our music has really helped me practice being professional, and I think that's helpful if I were to go into business for sure. Another thing is lobstering. We began lobstering when we were 12, and we have our student license, and we lobster every summer. So my parents, they're not lobster people. They don't have their licenses like other people, other people's parents do. So it was new to all of us. We didn't even have a boat to fish on that was appropriate for lobstering. So our grandparents actually were really generous with us, and they helped to pay the face value of the boat that we fish on. And in return of that, they were kind of like our silent partners. And we had an arrangement to pay them back money. Like, we documented how many pounds of lobster we caught, and then we would give them back some money, like, to help pay back for the boat. And their point wasn't necessarily to get back the money really fast, but it was more to help us learn partnership in business. So evaluating the cost of the supplies that we needed and the profit of the actual lobsters that we were catching was helpful to learn about financial profit and gain. Although we don't fish a crazy amount of traps, the life skills that lobstering has given us is definitely something that will be helpful for me in my future. So I interviewed a family friend who lives in New York City, but summers on MDI. He's a very successful co-business owner as a financial counselor for select successful families in New York City. He helps to manage their money and guide them to good investments. One question that I asked him was, what are the attributes of his personality that he thinks contributes most to his success? And he responded by saying, determination, patience, and the capacity to focus. So once I heard him say that, I kind of became more confident in myself that I could be successful in this field, because I consider myself a very hardworking person, and I'm very proud of that aspect of my personality. And both in school and my other activities, I strive really hard, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to do really well at whatever it is that I'm doing and everything. And I'm very committed to getting to those, completing my goals. So I think a career in business would highlight some of my strongest characteristics as a person. Another question that I asked him was, what advice would you give someone who is interested in pursuing a career in finance? And he responded by saying, it's achievable to pursue. It's a very broad field, and there's lots of different elements in finance. Anyone can conceivably become successful doing it. And that was really interesting to me, because when I played Monopoly when I was younger, I wasn't necessarily thinking like, oh yeah, this is where this is going to lead me, and I'm still not really completely sure where I want to be in 10 years. But knowing that it's a broad field just kind of made me feel a little bit better, because I don't think I have to have everything planned out right now. Like, I can just follow my interests and what I'm good at and see where it takes me. So as for my future, as I've said, dancing is a really important part of my life. However, due to the intense competition, as well as the low pay, dancing professionally isn't something that I think is a realistic option for me. I want to be financially stable, and dancing does not ensure that at all. While I don't see dancing as my main plan, I do need it to be part of my life, like for my mental health, really. So I would like to hopefully minor in dance, or at least be part of an involved dance group in college. So a decent business major is something that's more broad and more common to a lot of colleges, but a dance minor is more specific. So when I was looking for colleges, the dance minor or the dance group is something that helped me narrow down my options. As for location, I've always been drawn to the Boston area because it doesn't feel too far away from home, but it also would be something that interests me in terms of experiencing some city life, because we don't have that here. And yeah, so two of the schools in Boston that kind of caught my eye were Boston University and Northeastern University. I have a friend who is a business major at Northeastern University, so I decided to look into it a little bit more. And the thing that kind of drew me away from that was when I realized there was no dance minor. So that wasn't something that interested me, because there wasn't even a dance club that I could find, at least through my research. So that was a turn off for me for that school. But I looked into Boston University, and they do have a dance minor. So that was more interesting to me for sure, because I was thinking of other options. My mom was talking to me about how if there wasn't a dance minor at a school, what would other options be to still dance? But I think with college classes and stuff, it just wouldn't work. So I really wanted to find a school with a dance minor. So for Boston University, it's also a need-based school. So that was definitely something to look into because I don't want to come out of college with a bunch of debt that's going to take forever to pay off. So I also looked at the enrollment of Boston University, and it's 18,000 for undergraduate, which is a lot of people. So that's another thing that I was looking into for colleges, is I don't know if I see myself in such a big school like that, which has also caused me to look at schools that are smaller and also not rule out Maine as a place for college. So two of the schools I looked at in Maine were Bowdoin and Bates, and they both have economics majors that I would be interested in, and they're both need-based schools, as well as test scores are optional to send in. They're not, the acceptance of their schools aren't as heavily based on test scores, which was important to me because I have like fairly decent grades, but my test scores are not as strong. So that was important to me to look at in what schools I could more likely get into. So Bowdoin really interests me because they have a dance minor, and they also have dance groups that are concentrated in specific styles of dance. They have a classical ballet group that focuses on putting together point productions, which really interested me because if I wanted to minor in something else, I could still have classical ballet and be able to be part of that. I know a lot of people that I dance with go to college and they go from training in ballet for 5 days a week to just like occasionally taking a hip hop class or something. And that's not something that interests me. So Bowdoin really interested me in that. And then Bates as well also has a dance minor and clubs. So that was interesting to me. So Harvard is just something that I felt like I wanted to look up, even though it's incredibly competitive to get into. They have a business school, and it's like one of the top in the country for their business. Ideally, that would be incredible because I do love Boston, and also the schooling is just very, very top notch. They also have a ballet club that's they call a dance company, like a ballet company off of the school, which is just ideal to me, but it's just extremely competitive. I could also, another ideal thing would be I could get a bachelor's or master's degree at a different school, and then also, or I could get my master's in business from Harvard and a degree somewhere else, which would be incredible, but it's very hard to get into, as everybody knows. So kind of a safety option for me would be UMO. I could get a bachelor in financial economy there, and I mean, it's kind of a more just of a safety option for me than anything. I could still do Nutcracker with my company if I wanted to. There are a lot of UMO girls that do that. They're taking their classes at UMO and they come and do Nutcracker. So it's kind of a comforting option, but it's not really something that I want to do. I want to go out of my comfort zone a little bit more in college and experience something different than what I've been doing. But however, it's not something I would completely rule out as an option. So where could this lead me? As I've said, I don't really know exactly what I want to do right now. I've never had a quick answer. But I just plan on trying to make the most of whatever path I choose and follow my interests. Another thing that Scott Hirsch said with my interview was that I didn't need to know what I wanted to do right now. Like, I'm just really hoping that I can just kind of follow my interests and see where it takes me. So one option that could be is that I could work at a dance company, like a professional dance company, as like a financial person, which does interest me because dance has obviously been a huge part of my life, and that would also work with my business schooling. But I'm not closed off to that. I'm not really closed off to anything at this point. I know that that's a question, very kind of closed-ended question that people ask, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I don't think I really need to know that right now. So, yeah, that's it.
Quick questions for Kate before the PA comes on.
How did it feel to like grow up watching Nutcracker and then to actually be in it?
It's incredible. It seemed like such a huge production to me. It just seemed something that I could dream to be part of. So now growing up, going through the different roles and stuff, it's an incredible experience for me. Yeah.
Would you want to continue playing the cello?
I think that I need that to be part of my life. I just don't think that it will be as big of a part of my life as it is now. It's kind of taken the back seat a little bit more, but it's still something that I focus on, but it's not as big of a part of my life. Yep.
Did you ever have like a moment when you realized that being a professional dancer was a wise option?
I feel like it was kind of hard because every little girl that dances just dreams of that. It's just, I guess, seeing there are students that used to dance at my dance company who I just grew up idolizing. They were incredible, and they tried to do that. They tried to dance professionally, and even for them, it was just really, really hard for them just because it's so crazy competitive. So I guess seeing them have such a hard time doing that and knowing I wasn't at their level kind of made me realize it's not the most realistic option for me. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Kate.